everyone? It's me, Stef, the alternate, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to the Daily Nerd Live Saturday edition. How y'all doing this wonderful, wonderful weekend? I got some updates to tell you in terms of what's been going on in my life, but I'll do so after we go through the main topic of the day, which is, oh yeah, the Dutch publisher is fighting back with some fighting words after Omid Scobie, yesterday or the day before, who knows now, time has just run away with me, wrote that op-ed trying to explain what happened with the Dutch version. Oh yeah, the Dutch publisher's turning around and saying, it's factually incorrect what you wrote, mate. In my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, calling him a freaking liar. Oh my goodness. Yes. The drama with Liebrows, otherwise known as Lick Spittle, continues. Before we jump into the main topic of the day, though, as always, a couple of shout outs. You guys have been giving me a lot of support before this stream even started, so I'm going to go to that first. For those watching on the replay, guys, you know the drill by now. Fast forward 10-15 minutes and I'll have started the main topic at that point. First and foremost, though, salute to Sergeant George Harrison, gifting 5 leaderships to some of you lucky lot out there. So everyone say, hey up to our newest leaders, courtesy of our Sergeant. Hey up, Sergeant. Appreciate you as always. How are you doing? How is your big-ass TV screen doing? Probably Gucci, I can only imagine. Also, as well, special thanks to Dawn Goffstein for the $2 sugar bucks and the Ginger Doggy farting arts moment. Really appreciated seeing that as I was setting everything up. So thank you so much for that. And finally, Nancy DVI, thank you so much for the $2 sugar bucks. And again, my favourite, the Ginger Doggy farting arts moment. Thank you. Now, same rules apply as always. Whilst I'm going through the main topic of the day, if anyone sends any support in the meantime, I will get to it as and when I can whilst I'm going through the main topic. I see 470 of you at the moment are watching. Hey up everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. If you can please do so, spank the like button if you think Omid Scobie, when I can get my teeth back in, spank the like button right now if you think Omid Scobie is lying through his back teeth with the op-ed, which we'll be going through shortly. Also as well, if you haven't done so already, spank the subscribe button. It means that during the live streams, you're able to participate and chat in the live chat. A couple more supports before we start. Gail Andres, thank you so much for the $1.99 sugar bucks and the Ginger Doggy Fighting Arts moment. Really appreciate that. Joanne Hawley, thank you so much for the $2 sugar bucks. And again, the Ginger Doggy Fighting Arts moment. Really appreciate that. My goodness, it's a Ginger Doggy Fighting Arts moment train at this stage. Appreciate it. Tears in Tina, thank you so much for the Ginger Doggy Fighting Arts moment and the $2 sugar bucks. And Rosemaria Tado, my goodness, very kind, $10 sugar bucks, saying, hope you're feeling okay, Steph. I'll explain what happened yesterday afterwards. I hope this book finally brings the end to the Harkles. Enough is enough. Tell me about it. Enough is definitely enough. But yeah, guys, if you think Omid Scobie is lying through his back teeth about everything, then use your vote on the like button. Spank it right now. I'd like to see how many of you watching right now think that Omid Scobie is lying through his back teeth. With that being said, let's jump into today's main topic, which is, Omid Scobie's in trouble because he released that opinion piece, didn't he, trying to explain what happened, and the Dutch publisher be like, yeah, that's factually incorrect, i.e. opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. They're saying he's lying. Yes. Summer Savage, thank you so much for the $1.99 sugar bucks, saying, so ready for another good one with you, Steph. I don't think you're ready for this jelly, though, so let's go. Dutch publishers, this ain't clickbait, are fighting back. They're hitting back against Omid Scobie's Endgame. His claims that they were to blame for, quote, identifying the royal racists after he said they included the names in their translation. So the Dutch publisher of Omid Scobie's book Endgame, they've hit back at his claims that they were to blame for the names of the two royals being named as racist. The author used a newspaper column to say that the publisher was sent one version of his book to work on with the understanding that the translation would be updated for a final version. But in a statement given to MailOnline, the publisher has disputed this, calling him out by saying he was factually incorrect. Now, a spokesperson for the Dutch publisher in this instance, so Xander Uitgevers, said Omid Scobie's explanation in his column in iNews about the Dutch editorial process of the Dutch edition of Endgame is factually incorrect. They're literally saying this. And we do not recognise ourselves in his representation of the events. To me, it's a kind way of putting it. He's lying out of his freaking backside. His eyebrows are growing every single minute he tries to peddle this narrative. They then say Xander Uitgevers is not allowed to say anything about the content. We therefore refer to the agent UTA. Now that's United Talent Agency, and that's the agency that's actually repping Omid Scobie at the moment. But he hadn't. You see, this is the thing. We can't trust Omid Scobie, in my opinion, conspiracy theory or whatever. Why? Because he initially said that there was no version of Endgame where he had actually named, quote-unquote, royal racists, right? Well, yeah, no, that didn't fly with anyone. And, yeah, Piers Morgan has weighed in on all of this, as he does, saying, breaking, Scobie's own publishers says he's a liar. So this isn't just my interpretation of Scobie's Dutch publisher and what they said. Piers Morgan is thinking the same thing. The Dutch publishers are turning around and saying, you know, Omid Scobie, you're lying, liar, 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 your pants on freaking fire. Now, here is the op-ed that Omid wrote yesterday. This was. And this is the thing, right? He's trying to be like, as far as I'm concerned, when we read through this, I'm going to explain. He's trying to explain what happened with Endgame, the Dutch version. But he's trying to gloss over that. And he's trying to make the race the bigger story, right? He's like, don't look here, but look here. Don't look at the lies, but look here instead. Look, race baiting. Woo! Yeah, I know. This is absolutely insane what he does. So he starts off by saying that he knew releasing his second royal book was going to be a steep uphill climb. Well, not really, because he's done one before, so he can do one again, right? Deep diving into the lesser discussed and more controversial issues surrounding the royal family was never destined for objective coverage by those who make it their duty to protect the firm at any cost. Now, this is the thing, right? It's not... He's saying that he never stood a chance. He never stood a chance with Endgame, that people were going to cover it objectively fairly. Well, that's his own damn fault. Because of Finding Freedom, him turning around and saying Megxi has had nothing to do with it, and then we find out that Megxi did, right? And then B, you read through Endgame, and there's things that you can pull apart, things that you can tear apart, that, you know, it's like, dude, like, really? Where's your evidence for that? Where's your evidence for this? Where's your evidence for this? Him turning around and saying that, you know, the monarchy's at a juncture whereby if they don't choose the right thing, it's going to end them. It's like, what? His whole premise of the book falls apart as far as I'm concerned. So he'll only get objective coverage if A, he stops lying, B, he stops trying to do mental gymnastics and try and fit circles into a square, and C, actually report on what happened. I mean, the thing is, he was all about, you know, the royals this and the royals that, and ooh, look at the royals here, and ooh, look at the royals there. But you know what? That's when Megxi, for better or for worse, are part of the royal family, and he barely mentions them. Interesting, right? When the biggest royal racist in our current times, as far as I'm concerned, is Prince Hazard. Because, ooh, who's the one that actually wore the World War II bad guy suit? Before we go on, Tears in Tina, thank you so much for gifting one leadership to a lucky alternate. Everyone say A up to our newest leader, courtesy of Tears in Tina. Nancy DVI has also jumped into today's gifting wars. Thank you for gifting 5 leaderships to some of you lucky lot out there. So everyone say A up to our newest leaders, courtesy of Nancy DVI as well. And Sergeant George Harrison, thank you so much for the $2 sugar bucks, saying Pinocchio would be so proud. Yep. Pinocchio and Liebrows, I think the best buds at the moment. With that being said, though, guys, before we continue in this coverage, woo! I can now declare that the gifting wars have now begun. So thank you so much for everyone that's tuned in and has joined today's gifting wars so far. We are now on 11 new leaders already for today's stream. We're far away from 15. So who else is going to either spank the join button or join into today's gifting wars? We may soon find out, guys. We may soon find out. But going back to what I was saying earlier on, you know, who's the biggest royal racist of them all? Who's the one that's worn the World War II bad guy costume, right? Who's the one that was photographed with friends, with associates that, you know, were dressed as the K to the K to the K? Yeah? And, you know, there's no other way of saying it. Did blackface. Like, come the frick on. Who's the one that's turned round and called someone from Pakistan a racial slur? Well, we have the evidence on camera. Well, on tape at the very least, of them doing it. Right? Oh, I don't know. Begins with H and ends with Y. I don't know. Who am I talking about, guys? Come the frick on. How can he talk about racism in the royal family and not dive deep into Hazza and what he's done? The biasness, as far as I'm concerned, is there to freaking see. So, yeah, he's saying, well, I never had a chance. There was never going to be any objective coverage, this, that, and the other. Well, of course not. Because he never set Endgame up to be objective, as far as I'm concerned. It never gave a balanced approach to the royal family. It was all doom and gloom, and that was it. But that's not really the case. I've shown you receipts after receipts after receipts. They are popular to the hilt still. Cass Higby, thank you so much for the $1.99 sugar bucks. Really appreciate your face. And Ms. M, thank you so much for the $2 sugar bucks and the ginger doggy farting arts moment. Really appreciate that. Keep the support coming through. So yeah, him saying, oh, never had a chance, never was going to get objective coverage. Dude, that's your fault. You wrote the damn book. You did the PR. Come on. Come the frick on. And so he says he was certainly under no illusion that the same group who usually run for cover at the mere mention of the word race were going to welcome a 16,500 word chapter around the royal establishment's uncomfortable history regarding prejudice and imperial might. Now, I've always said, has there been racism in the royal family? Yes. Is there racism in all institutions? You will find it. It's going to be there. Whether it's big, small, minute. Unfortunately, it's frustrating. I hate it. But it's there, right? Royal family's not going to be any different. However, for them to turn around and be like, it's a big, massive problem with the royal family, that to me is disingenuous. That to me is a lot of bullshit. But that, in that particular chapter that he's on about, and I read it. I did a whole freaking stream, 8.5 hours. The receipt's there. I read that freaking thing, so you didn't have to. My goodness. Is he trying to make a mountain out of a molehill with it all? And again, he briefly mentions Hazza. I'll give him that. But he don't go in to the whole history of Hazza and his racism. Well, we do have receipts on that. And he's, as far as I'm concerned, the biggest one in modern history. But no, nothing to see here. Look at the royal family instead. Nothing to see. Oh, no. Look at the royal family instead. It's absolutely maddening. Maddening. He says, by now it's almost impossible that you haven't heard of Endgame. Probably, yeah. It's unlikely, however, that you'll have come across much about what's actually in it. Before it even hit the shelves, tabloid coverage had already resorted to using false quotes not actually in the book, and Google translated words from the French serialization. Now, let's be very clear on this, because this is something that Andy has taught me. When a celebrity brings out a book, whether it's, a memoir or, a book like Endgame or whatever, right? Whatever the book is, they will release bits of information about it to try and drum up publicity, to try and drum up hype before the book is released. Hold that thought. MLS Making Law Simple, thank you so much for gifting 5 leaderships to some lucky alter nerds out there. So everyone say, hey up to our newest leaders, courtesy of my mate, MLS Making Law Simple. Really, really appreciate your face. My goodness, thank you for that. So, going back to it, the author, in conjunction with like the publisher and the agency and all that lot, they will release tidbits. They'll release information, quotes, whatever, right? To try and drum up hype and publicity before the book comes out. So, for him to turn around and say, before it even hit the shelves, information came out. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, the information that came out before the book hit the shelves was from Omid Scobie and his team. Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. That's what always happens. That is the play for every single book that is written by like a celebrity or royal author or whatever, right? They'll start by sending out information to the press so that they can report on it, excerpts that they can report on as well to, again, drum up hype, drum up interest before the book comes out. It's a standard play-by-play. And Omid's no different. So for him to be like, oh, well, there was information that was reported and it was factually correct, blah, 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 blah. No, BS, no. Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. It all came from Scobie's team. Now, before we continue, Hobson's Choice. Hey up, Hobson's Choice. Thank you so much for jumping into today's gifting war, gifting 1 leadership to one of our lucky alter nerds out there. Everyone say hey up to our newest leader, courtesy of Hobson's Choice. Really, really appreciate that. So, he further continues to write, the one story which dominated the headlines ended up being, as we all know, the Dutch version of Endgame and the 2 names that were released as a part of that. He says he wrote it like this: the names of any royal family members who allegedly had concerns about the darkness of the Sussex's first child's skin. So, he's still peddling the race situation. He says, while the finished manuscript reveals fresh details about the written correspondence between King Charles and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, regarding potential unconscious bias in the family, the identities of those who took part in these conversations were to remain a mystery. Now, this is the thing, right? Look at how he writes this. It's a little bit of linguistic analysis now, okay? Firstly, he says potential unconscious bias in the family. When you read the book, he says unconscious racial bias. He doesn't say potential. He just says about the unconscious racial bias. That's the first thing. The second thing, he says the identities of those who took part in these conversations were to remain a mystery. Not exactly true, because we've now, well, we already knew this anyway, guys, right? We already knew this, right? He initially said that he had never written the names in any of the editions of Endgame, in any of the manuscripts, in any of the versions, right? Now we know he was lying, but we knew that anyway, but, whatever. For him to turn around and say the identities were to remain a mystery essentially is disingenuous and is misleading. Because no, they weren't to remain a mystery. Why? Because there was at some point, however small it may have been, an intention for Omid Scobie to actually name them in the first place. And why do I say that? Because he at least put those names in one of the manuscripts, in one of the drafts. If it was the case that the identities were to remain a mystery, he would have never have named them in any of the drafts whatsoever. The fact that he did it in at least one of the drafts proves to me that, again, however small it may have been at the time, there was still intent to do so. Yeah. Think about it, guys. MPNG Creative Media, thank you so much for the £2 sugar bucks and the Ginger Doggy Fighting Arts moment. And Patricia Del Bell, oh my goodness, Patricia, thank you so much for spanking that join button all on your lonesome. Really, really appreciate your face. Everyone say, hey, up to our newest leader. A special welcome to Patricia, because she spanked the join button a sen, so that's absolutely super duper awesome of you, Patricia. So thank you so much for that. Let's get back to this and tearing this apart, because, my goodness, this absolutely irates me. It angers me to no end. Again, for him to turn around and say the identities were to remain a mystery does not make any logical sense whatsoever when he named them at least once in one of the drafts. The intent was there for them not to be a mystery at some point during this whole process. Cass Higby, thank you so much for the $1.99 sugar bucks. Really, really appreciate your face, hun. So he continues. It's as if he was blindsided. That's what he's trying to say, right? And this is an excuse he's done before, and I'll explain in a minute. He says, I was in the middle of TV interviews in New York on 28th of November when a single name surfaced on social media. After it was published in the Dutch edition, my stomach flipped. The 403 pages that I'd carefully written, edited and signed off to the printers made it very clear that any names would not be revealed due to legal reasons. So, in the book Endgame, he tries to explain finding freedom and how Meggsy was involved. And the way that he says it is this. He didn't know at all during the process of finding freedom that Meggsy was involved. That he only found out, like the rest of us, when it was released in the media. He's using that same excuse, guys, here. By saying, I had no idea about the Dutch version, guys, until social media got their hands on it. Whoopsie. But this is the thing. Well, even, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Even if, right, he had no idea about the Dutch version whatsoever, so what? The names were still in there. The author of that book is Omid Scobie. It ain't me, it ain't you, it ain't the King of England, it ain't Princess Catherine, it's Omid Scobie. So, whether he was blindsided or not with this, ultimately the book stops with him. He put those names in. If he wanted to ensure that the names weren't there, he shouldn't have written them in the first place. That was ultimately his decision to do. Not mine, not yours, not the royal family's. So him saying that he was blindsided, well, so freaking what? And so what? That's not pertinent to the situation here. What's pertinent to the situation is, why? Why do this in the first place? This is the only book in history, from what I know, where this has happened, where there's been a different translation in one country to the rest of the world. The only time this has happened to my knowledge. Come on. Come on. You think No. Something is wrong with this picture. Totally. Joel Hodge, thank you so much for spanking the join button you sent. My goodness, very, very kind of you. Everyone say A up to our newest leader, Joel. A very, very extra special A up because, like I said, he spanked the join button himself. Proper badass, Joel. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. So, he was apparently still confused about what had happened, guys. Still confused. And unable to keep an eye on the unfolding story during my back-to-back press appearances, I was at the very least relieved to see the Netherlands publisher swiftly announce that copies containing what they described as a translation error would be removed from stores. Sorry, no. He said it was a translation error. He said translation error. It was a translation error. And that he had never written the names in any version of Endgame. That's what he said on RTL Boulevard. So here, he's starting now to switch position, right? And paint the Dutch publisher as the bad guy. But again, we can't forget, he's the damn author, not the Dutch publisher. He says, as the second name started circulating, questions were coming in thick and fast. I had many too. He says he had many questions too. Yeah, whatever. But details at this point were still being pieced together, and I don't have the full story. Now, this is the thing. If he had turned round and he had just said, look, it's all under investigation at the moment. I don't understand how the Dutch version was different. So I need to get all the facts and I'll make a more detailed statement later on down the line. Do you know what? I would have respected that more than the freaking BS that he then peddled. Because actually, as soon as he opened his gob to try and explain this, he'd hung himself at that point where he could get my teeth back in. Because now, every single moment where he's spoken about this Dutch translation, his story has evolved and it's changed. And so it changed from, oh, there was never a version where the names were written, to, oh, yeah, there was, and the wrong version was sent, or whatever. Well, there's inconsistencies in his story already, just on that alone. Never mind Endgame. There's inconsistencies all over Endgame. He should have just said, look, it's under investigation. I'm shocked this has happened. I don't know how this has happened. Once we get to the bottom of it, I'll make a further statement at that point. But I don't know what's happened. The thing is, if you don't know what's happened, you don't say it. You just say, I don't know. Instead of trying to BS. He says here, he had too many questions. Things were being pieced together and he didn't have the full story. Well, if you didn't have the full story, you don't comment until you have the full story. And then you're like, look, I've got the full story. I know the jizz now. This is what's happened. Now, as far as I'm concerned, he had the full story since day one. And tried to, as far as I'm concerned, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, gaslight the world, gaslight the translators and the Dutch publisher. When he found out that he couldn't do that plan wasn't working, here we go. Here's his second attempt at doing it. Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Andy Lucy, my goodness, a lot of you are really spanking that join button today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Andy Lucy being one who's also spanked the join button. So everyone give a nice special A up welcome to Andy Lucy. Really appreciate your face, mate. Thank you so much. So Omid also writes, to be clear, the only publisher I worked directly with was the one covering the US and the UK. I spent almost 2 months with independent British barristers and in-house legal counsel to ensure that every detail in the finished book was legally watertight. Unbeknownst to me at the time, early and unclear text was provided to the Dutch publisher in order for them to start work on the translation, with the understanding that their translation will be updated to reflect the final version of the book I officially submitted. Okay, so this is the thing. It doesn't matter, again, if he just worked directly with the US and the UK. The publisher that only worked in the US and the UK, it don't matter. It doesn't matter. This is his book. He wrote it. It's as simple as that. The book stops with him. ultimately, from my understanding, now I spoke to a lovely, lovely lady. Her name's Ailey. I spoke to her last weekend and did a video. She's been in the publishing industry for 30 years, guys. Check that video out. It's absolutely fascinating, the interview I have with her. And this is a thing. I had learned, speaking to her, that when a transcript is sent to be translated, there's a lot of checks and balances. There's a lot of checks within the translator company, with the publisher, with legal. But the version that's sent to the translator, the author knows about that version that's sent. The author knows. Now, Omid Scobie might be telling the truth here, but to me, no. No, he's not. No, he's not. How could he have not known that one of his versions was sent to the Dutch publisher? And think about it. Why was it just, let's say, that version that was only sent to the Dutch publisher? Think about it. The rest of the world got the, quote, correct version of Endgame. Why is it that the Dutch publisher got a different version? Why were they singled out? Why were they different? Omid Scobie must have known that they had a different manuscript. Must have known. A conspiracy theory, whatever. It makes zero sense, his explanation here, as far as I'm concerned. He says other foreign language publishers, including in France and Italy, were also doing the same thing, though their versions perfectly replicated the completed work. What I can be sure of is that I edited carefully, took independent legal advice, and the finished book that I submitted was not the version published in the Netherlands. Well, yeah. The die, Captain Obvious, right? But this is the thing. He says here, right, other foreign language publishers, including France and Italy, were also doing the same thing. They got an earlier copy of the draft, but when they got a new draft, they would update. So, to me, that proves Omid Scobie knew that what was being sent out initially was a draft where 2 of the royals were being named. There you go. There you go. Right here. Right here. He says, by the time I wrapped up media efforts in the US, coverage in Britain had reached new levels of hysteria. Well, duh! It just outed 2 royals as, quote, the royal racists. Which, by the way, do I believe that? Hell freaking no. Get bent. He says, when I landed in London, reporters were already banging on the doors of my parents' home. My car was being followed. Violent threats were piling up. And some of the papers were baying for blood. Now, this is the thing. And I'll say it once and I'll say it again. No matter whether you like him or not, right? No one, and I mean no one, should be subject to being stalked because his car was being followed, having violent threats aimed at them. No one, not even Omid Scobie, and his parents being affected by it all. That shouldn't have happened. That's bang out of line. Now, whether you believe that or not is another thing, but if it did happen, bang out of line, shouldn't have happened. Whether you like him or not, I'll defend him on that. Don't care, I will. I've had violent threats. I've had death threats. Not good. I mean, I monetized the shiz out of it. Thanks, Sugar Squad. But you know what I mean. Kaz Higby, thank you so much for the $1.99 sugar bucks. Really, really appreciate your face. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep the support coming through, guys. He says, false reports suggested that this was all part of some elaborate PR campaign. An offensive and ridiculous claim, especially given that the book had already been on the front pages for several days before this news had broken. Now, that explanation actually flies a little bit. Okay. However, do I fully believe it? No. I think it was a way of, and again, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. I think this was a way for Omid Scobie to release these two names. And he wanted them released. And he wanted to be the one to release them. Again, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. He said in the This Morning interview, everyone on Fleet Street knew the names. I think he wanted to be the first to release them. Because the rest of the countries got updated versions of the transcript to translate and published the correct version. But the Dutch publisher didn't. Odd. Again, this has never happened before, ever, to my knowledge, for a book. And so he says, and here lies the problem. Time and time again, I encounter this aggressive resistance to allowing proper discourse about the current state and role of the British monarchy to take place. Well, when you release a more balanced book, maybe. Until then, piss off. It's not as if much of the public don't want it. The day after Endgame hit shelves, support for the monarchy had fallen to just 52%. Yeah, this is the thing though. Which poll is that? Which poll is that? Show us the receipts. I've shown the receipts. I've shown 3 separate polls showing that support for the monarchy is at an all-time high and support for Hazza and Megzi are in the shitter. Where's his receipts for this? He says, have we really reached the point where any criticism of this publicly funded establishment is considered an attack? Well, it is when it comes to Omid Scobie because his whole credibility is shot. He is known as Megzi and Hazza's cheerleader and mouthpiece. And again, and I've said this before, that whole topic on race and the royal family, he mentions Hazza briefly, but goes in on the royal family 100 times more. As far as I'm concerned, who's the biggest racist in the royal family today? Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Starts with H, ends with freaking Y. Who's the one that dressed up as a World War II bad guy? Who's the one that was partying with people who dressed as the K to the K to the K and in freaking blackface? Who's the one that's been caught on tape calling someone of Pakistani heritage a racial slur? But no, again, nothing to see here. Look here. Nothing to see here, but look here. Nothing to see at Monarchy or Royale, but look at Buckingham Palace instead. And he moans that whenever he tries to talk about this, there's resistance, aggressive resistance. Damn right there's freaking aggressive resistance. When his whole book's being torn apart as factually incorrect, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Totally. Cass Higby, thank you so much for the $1.99 sugar book, saying bad case of wind coming out there, gobs. Yep. And Catherine Rook, thank you so much for the $5 sugar book, saying keep it up. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Keep the support coming. He says, in the 12 years covering the royal family, particularly since the arrival of Meghan in 2016, the topic of race and the royals has regularly featured in my reporting. Yeah, freaking race beta. I'm telling you, guys, I think I'm going to do a massive video on this and show you all the receipts because it's really pissing me off. Time and time again, he said it in Endgame. He said Megzi never stood a chance. She got every single chance in the world. Unprecedented access to Queen's aides and everyone to make sure she could fit in, that she could slot in, and that she could adapt, and that she could thrive within the royal family. The press, we loved her. We saw her outfits. We wanted to emulate her. We watched in our millions her wedding. Yet in Endgame, he says Megzi didn't have a chance. And here, since 2016, topic of race and the royals is regularly featured in his reporting. The race-baiting piece of shiz, as far as I'm concerned. Wasn't as bad as they're making it out to be. It's ridiculous. He says that a member of the press back said to him in a 2019 Royal Tour, oh, here comes the one who thinks we're all racist. Well, yeah, damn right. He thinks we're all racist, as far as I'm concerned. Piss off. He thinks anyone Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. I think he's just like the Sugars in the sense of if anyone criticises Megsy, you're racist. It's all about the colour of the skin. Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. I think that's his stance. Lulu's mum, thank you so much for the $5 sugar bucks. Saying, and they choose the smallest country with the least financial impact when it hit the fan. This was no mistake. I don't think it was a mistake either. No chance. No way in hell. Sergeant George Harrison, thank you so much for the $2 sugar bucks. Saying, monkey time. We'll get to monkey time in a moment. But thank you so much for letting me know. Appreciate your face, honey. And if for those that don't know what monkey time is, you'll find out shortly. But this is the thing. He's kind of, as far as I'm concerned, made it about him. Because Endgame is now all about what he did with the Dutch version and the names that were released. But more than that, what he's done to, as far as I'm concerned, gaslight the translators and the Dutch publisher, who, again, have turned round and called BS on him. Saying that what he said in this piece that I'm going through is factually incorrect. He's gaslighting them, and as far as I'm concerned, he's trying to gaslight the whole freaking world at this point. Lizzie B, thank you so much for your continued support for the leadership. Saying, where would the Dutch women get those two specific names from? Why not QC, PW, or Princess Anne? Why would she put those two names in? Let's think logically. Exactly. Now, he's now admitted that he's done this in a previous version that was sent to the Dutch publishers. But earlier on in this op-ed, he turns around and he says, you know, where the rest of the country's got the updated version to translate, the Dutch somehow didn't or did and they didn't follow through or whatever. Who the frick knows? Yeah, okay. And we're supposed to buy that. Again, this is the only book where this has happened to my knowledge. Nah. He's not pulling the wool over my eyes. No way. There's something wrong with this picture. He says, for the 12.8 million ethnic minority individuals in multicultural Britain today, shooing away opportunities to meaningfully explore the Royal Institution's historic links to slavery and the impact its legacy has had on the country, or have serious conversations around the Royal Institution's failure to protect its only family member of colour, sends a clear message that the issues just don't matter. Rather than properly address everything as part of a genuine attempt to modernise and better reflect the diverse country they serve, the royal family continue to sweep the issues and more under the rug. Prepare yourself for what I'm about to say next. But for the kids, thank you so much for the $4.99 sugar bucks. Appreciate your face, mate. Saying, I think he just offed his career with this. He's been caught lying twice now. Who would hire him now? Facts. I would say that totally. Right. This is the bit where, as far as I'm concerned, he is race baiting the most. The absolute piece of shiz to do this. Totally disingenuous, in my opinion. Totally manipulative, in my opinion. Because he's like, well, you know, the names were released, never mind. It's all about race, guys. It's all about race and the royal family. Never mind the names. It's all about the race. And he's like, you know, 12.8 million ethnic minorities in multicultural Britain today. Yeah, okay, Britain is multicultural. But guess what? The royal family's white. Has been for over 1,000 years now. Right? So what? So what? That the royal family does not physically represent multicultural Britain. So what that the royal family ain't going the way of Star Wars and Marvel and all that lot, where they're like, oh, I don't know, let's say, Who's a royal that's single right now? I can't even think. Princess Sophie's daughter, right? Sorry, Duchess Sophie's daughter. Duchess Sophie's daughter, right? Lady Sophie. Hang on, guys. Yeah, Lady Louise. Yeah. I got it right. Sorry, I had to double check. Sorry. brain like a sieve sometimes. So, Lady Sophie, right? Let's use her as an example. So Lady Sophie, she brings someone home who is Caucasian and white. The royal family's supposed to turn around and be like, well, that doesn't represent multicultural Britain today, so you need to come back with someone that, represents multicultural Britain. Maybe someone from the Indian heritage or Pakistani heritage, right? Seriously? So what if, physically speaking, they don't represent multicultural Britain? Don't matter. It's what they do, how they serve the country that matters. If anything, as far as I'm concerned, Omid Scobie is being racist for turning around and saying there's a problem that the royal family's white. And that's my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. That's my interpretation of what he's saying here. To protect his only family member of colour. Like, he had to try and point that out. The only family member of colour. Piss off, you cowbag. What the frick is this nonsense all about? They serve the people of Britain. No matter if you're white, black, brown, pink, yellow, purple, every single colour under the rainbow or more. Don't matter. They still serve the British public. Get Ben. And this whole historic links to slavery, there's a lot of institutions with historic links to slavery. But guess what? That's done now. Is there modern slavery? Yeah, okay, fine. But in terms of the royal family and slavery, that's done now. They don't do slavery anymore. Wake the shit up. But no, let's bang on that drum even more, right? Why? To what end? It ain't going to achieve shit. Jean Woodhouse, thank you so much for the $2 sugar bucks and the ginger doggy farting ass moment. Really appreciate your face. And he's like, everyone's talking about these names that were released, this, that, and the other. Everyone's lying about my book. But guess what? It's all your fault, guys, because you're not talking about the biggest issue of all that I discuss in Endgame, which is the royal family being racist and their issues with race. It's our fault, guys. It's our fault. It's not his fault. It's our fault. And not once in this opinion piece does he turn around and apologise for including those two names in an earlier draft version of Endgame. Not once. Don't turn around and he say, you know what? I was totally embarrassed by the whole incident. It never should have happened. I'm so sorry. Not once. Instead, he blames it on the Dutch publisher. Dutch publisher be like, factually incorrect, as far as I'm concerned, turning around and saying he's lying. And then furthermore, he's like, but you know what? Never mind about the names. It's the press's fault because they reported on it inaccurately, and it's everyone else's fault because they're talking about these names, but they're not really talking about what they should be talking about, which is, the race problem in the royal family. There's no freaking race problem in the royal family. There's none. Not as big as he's trying to make out to be anyway, if we're going to say that at the very least. It is maddening. He needs to shut the hell up at this point. But actually, do you know what? No. Omid Scobie, continue. Continue to spout your mouth off. Because guess what? I hope the Dutch publisher and I hope those translators are watching extremely closely of what he's saying and what he's doing. And I hope they are in the process or in the middle of speaking to legal counsel to sue his backside. I hope that. I hope. I really, really do. Because that article and what he said leading up to that article has been absolutely atrocious against the Dutch publisher and the Dutch translators. Absolutely disgusting. And not once has he apologised. Not once has he apologised for including those names in an earlier draft at the very least. No, it's all excuses. It's not his fault at all. It's not his fault. Not his fault. Let's put it this way. If he hadn't written those names in the first place in any of the drafts, which he said originally happened, not one draft he said had those names in. If that was actually the case, this wouldn't have happened. But guess what? It did. The book stops with him. It's Endgame by Omid Scobie. It's not Endgame by Xander Utgevers. It's not Endgame by Saskia Peters. No, it's Endgame by Omid Scobie. He wrote the damn book. He wrote the earlier drafts. The book stops with him. He needs to apologise. Not trying to shift the blame. The blame is with him, ultimately. Simple as. And the fact that he hasn't apologised is disgusting and disrespectful to the royal family and us, the British people. Now, there has been reaction, as you can appreciate, all over the Twitter world. So we're going to get into that. So firstly, Piers Morgan, let's go back to old Pierce here, saying, breaking. Sussex lick spittle, Omid Scobie admits he did write names of alleged royal racists in an early draft of his book, having earlier emphatically denied ever doing so. As I said, he's a liar. Yeah, absolutely. Liar, liar, and his freaking pants are on fire. Snell Grove Ailes IMO, which is Ailey, my guest that I had last week for a video. She's the one that, you know, has worked 30 years in the publishing industry. She says, as a translator myself, I've been screaming this from day one. The publisher and translator should sue hard and fast. The translation publishing process is foolproof because of shady agents and authors. And that's why I said earlier on, there's a lot of checks and balances with this. How did Omid Scobie not know that the Dutch publishers didn't have the updated transcript to translate from? Come the frick on. Canberra's Brat, thank you so much for the $20 sugar bucks. Saying the race card is Omid's go-to when he's asked questions that make him uncomfortable. Absolutely. It's disingenuous, it's lazy, and it's outright freaking evil as far as I'm concerned. Now, my friend, Megan's Mole, if you're not subscribed to on YouTube, get it done now, says, to the dear Dutch translators who were dragged through the mud due to Omid's lies, here is your moment to sue him into bankruptcy for digging your good name through, for dragging your good name through the mud. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would be applauding them if they did that. And supporting them every step of the way if they did this. Hopefully when they do it, but time will tell. It does take a while for a lawsuit to get going. They do have to gather all the information to then submit the lawsuit. So it may be a while. So be patient with that. But I hope it happens. I really do. My big brother, Andy Signer, over on Popcorn Planet and Popcorn Palace. If you're not subscribed to both those channels, definitely get that done. Saying, I'm so sick of Omid Scobie, his lies and his eyebrows. Hashtag liebrows. You have lost all credibility and are not the bastion of hope and change you think you are. You're a salacious, race-baiting, clickbaiting charlatan, just like your bestie you lick the spittle from. Snaps for that one. Andy went in. I tell you something, this time last year, Andy was like, I don't know why you've got a problem with like Hazard and Megsy and all this lot, you know, and he didn't understand the situation, of course. He does now. You can blame me. He's converted to the good side. You can blame me for that one, guys. I'm very, very proud. Let's go back to my friend Megan's Mole, saying he continues to dig his own grave. He can't keep his mouth shut, just like Megan. I hope the translators sue his effing eyebrows off. Absolutely. But let him talk even more. The more he talks, the more you can actually trip him up on all his lies, because he's not consistent anyway. And so let him run his gob off, because that's going to be even more evidence for the translators and the Dutch publishing company to hopefully sue his effing eyebrows off. Absolutely. And then we've got Jesus from the Royal Vogue, another one of my friends. Please subscribe to him. I love his sass. His sass is just like out of this world. He's so funny. He says, this honourless worm claimed Bell Endgame's Dutch version was a translation mistake, throwing innocent professionals under the bus. Now he admits that early and uncleared text was sent to the Dutch publisher. It's fun to see Scobie's career dying in real time. That is definitely fun to see. Yeah, I definitely have my popcorn out for this right now. Absolutely. And now the last two I'm going to show you is ever since the op-ed that I've just read through was released, these are the two things that Omid Scobie has done on his Twitter account. He's retweeted two things. The first thing he's retweeted is HarperCollins, I think this is California version. The best-selling Endgame by Scobie is making big waves in the news. Yeah, it's making big waves in the news, but not in the best way possible. But yay for spin, right? Get the behind-the-scenes scoop on all things Royal Family by ordering your copy today. Or get the Omid Scobie's fantasy version behind the scenes of Royal Family by ordering your copy today. That's what I would say instead. And the other thing that he retweeted was this opinion piece by Georgia Lawton saying you can't truly understand the royal race row unless you felt the sting of skin tone bigotry. So he's retweeted look at how successful my book is. Yay! It's not that successful, but yay! Look at the success. Look at the success. And then B, more royal race baiting here. Never mind about the names being released, that it's his fault, this, that, and the other. No. Let's go back to the bigger conversation that he's blaming us that we're not having. That, you know, there's bigotry, guys. There's bigotry. He's trying to change the goalposts from, whoops, I named the royal racist, to, no, there's bigotry, skin tone bigotry, there's racism in the royal family, and we need to discuss that. We don't need to discuss shiz. No. He's trying to force this, as far as I'm concerned, on us, this conversation. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't need to happen. Doesn't. Get bent. But, yeah, with that being said, everyone that's watching on the live, stay exactly where you are. I'm not done with you yet. But everyone watching on the replay, if you appreciated this video and you want more, believe me, of course there's going to be more, then make sure you subscribe to join our alternate tribe. I'll be honest with you, help us get to 100k so we can get that silver play button right there and hopefully cause a Christopher Boozy meltdown on Twitter. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatevers. And if you've got some very strong opinions about Omid Scobie, Liebrows, aka Lick Spittle, and this op-ed that I've just gone through, I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. We can have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And hey up live chat, how y'all doing? Same rules apply as always. Anyone that sends me a super chat sticker, member only chat, your chats are guaranteed to be read out. Everyone else, I'll just pick and choose what jumps out to me, but they're not guaranteed to be read. So do bear that in mind. Before we jump into that though, my goodness, do I owe you a monkey? Sorry I didn't do it earlier on. I was kind of on a roll with what I was reporting on. But yes, we achieved a monkey by achieving 500 likes for today's stream. So guess what that means? Get your dancing monkey shoes on, because we achieved a monkey. Yeah, boy. Love it. And my goodness, looking at the stats here, we're now 96 away from a double monkey. So, guys, if you haven't done so already, spank the like button if you do not believe Omid Scobie and what he said in that opinion piece. If you don't believe it, what he said, and if it angers you, then spank the like button. I want to see how many of you think the same way as me. So let's have a look and see what you guys are saying in the chat. Lulu's mum says, mic drop, Andy. Yep. Proud of my big bro. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, Andy did go epic. He did. I'm proud of him for it. Definitely. Let's see what else you guys are saying. As I'm also looking at that, just to give you guys a little bit of an update, we started this stream at 83,434 alter nerds. Where are we now? Let's have a look. Woo! 83,451 alter nerds in today's in our community so far, not in our stream, but, in our community so far. We are just 49 new alter nerds away from 83,500. So, guys, if you've not spanked that subscribe button, spank it right now. Spanking the subscribe and the like buttons are the kind of spankings I really encourage you to do to me. So, get it done and make sure I feel it all the way in Yorkshire. Let's see what else you guys are saying in the meantime. Deborah says, he is a rage spitter. I need to name his sources. Yeah. Be interesting what his sources are, right? Lulu's mum says, oh, please invite scabies on your show, Steph. Thank you so much for the $5 sugar bucks. And I have actually considered it. He's not blocked me. So I have considered inviting him. However, the reason why I haven't done it is because, how do I put this? I think I'd be too aggressive with him. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be honest. Totally be honest. I think I'd be too aggressive with him. Now, you guys might be like, yeah, but for me, something that Andy has taught me is that when you're interviewing guests, you need to try and take your emotion out, look at it objectively, and ask the question, they answer, push back, challenge, but do it in a way where your emotions don't get the best of you. And with Omid Scobie at the moment, I'll be honest with you, I think the emotions would get the better of me because I see him attacking the royal family and everything else, and that is personal to me. And so, even though it would be a good idea, I don't think I would be good at it at the moment. I'm learning. Best believe I'm learning, and maybe one day I'll be mentally strong enough to do that, and more emotionally mature. I'll keep it 100, but until then, nope, and nope. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Oh my goodness, Sergeant George Harrison, thank you so much for the $10 sugar bucks. Saying my head hurts with Omid's BS. Yeah, I know. I did an 8.5 hour live stream reading through Endgame. So you guys didn't have to, even though you can buy it if you want. I read the thing. Oh my goodness. By the end of it, I was like, oh, freaking hell, I'm never going to get that time back, right? But at least he can't accuse me of not reading it. I got evidence. I got receipts. I read that damn thing. So there we go. What else you guys are saying? Nick Wilson says, has anyone seen the new Hunger Games and Wonka? So, okay. I'm not interested in the new Hunger Games. I'm not interested in Wonka. But next week, Godzilla Plus One is released in the UK. Now, hopefully I'll get to see it. I say hopefully. In a way, I hope I don't get to see it then. Let me explain. As long as the doctors clear me next week, on Friday I'm going to Italy for the weekend for a family celebration. But if the doctors don't clear me, then on Friday, when Godzilla Plus One is released, I'm going to see that. So if I'm going to see that, it means, yeah, I get to see a apparently really kick-ass awesome movie because Andy rates it. But B, it's kind of sad because it means that I can't go to Italy for the big family celebration that's happening. So Swings and roundabouts, right? But Hunger Games and Wonka, I'm just not interested in seeing. I'm just really, really not. But I'm glad that finally Oppenheimer is released on digital. So glad. As soon as I saw it, I was like, right, take my money, bought, and that was it. I'm going through the iTunes extras at the moment on Oppenheimer film, and it's really, really cool, like behind the scenes of how it was all made and stuff. So yeah, I went to see that film, I think 4 or 5 times at the movies. I enjoyed it so much. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Dawn Goffstein, thank you so much for the $5 sugar bucks. Saying, for your recovery, have a cup of tea on me. Thank you. Yeah, let me explain what happened yesterday, because usually you get Daily Nerds from me every single day, and then at the weekend it's the Daily Nerd Lives. Yesterday there was nothing. I didn't even report on the Omid Scobie opinion piece at that point, when everyone else pretty much did. Why? The night before, I must have slept funny. Like slept in a really, really awkward position without knowing, because when I woke up yesterday, shiz the bed, my back was like, I hate you right now, Stef. Especially where the surgery site is and where my stitches are. It was like, I hate you, Stef, right now. And I'm thinking, why are you hating me? Yeah, I was going through shit yesterday, guys. I actually had to take some meds at that point. I didn't take the cocodamol because that really like bungs me up and makes it hard for me to go to the restroom. So screw it. I was like, you know what? I've got some more morph. I'm going to take some morphine instead. It worked in the end, but I was just so out of it and so uncomfortable and in pain that I was just like, I'm not doing Daily Nerd today. I'm going to take a day off. And to be fair, in all honesty, I thought it was well deserved, because quite literally, like last week when I came out of the hospital on the Thursday, within a couple of hours, I was sat here doing a video on the This Morning Omid Scobie interview. And I've done nigh on like 3 videos a day ever since. I've not stopped. So I think yesterday was well deserved. Yesterday my body was like, I hate you right now, Steph. You need to stop doing this. Today I'm like, screw you, I'm back. Hi. So there we are. Wendy Marino says 100k for Christmas, y'all. Now that would be a Christmas miracle if we got to 100,000 subscribers by Christmas. At the moment, looking at this, my goodness, a couple of you more have spanked the subscribe button. We're now at 83,456 alter nerds in the community. So, I mean, it is going in the right direction. But to get to 100k for Christmas, like, that would be a Christmas miracle. And if you can help get there, then spank it. Spank the subscribe button good and proper, guys. Let's see. Grammy LMAO says it would be hard to remain civil to someone you detest. There you go. And even though I am getting better at it, how do I put this? And I've been open about this, I suffer from autism. I'm on the spectrum. And when it comes to social cues, I'm not really too great at that. I'm blunt. As Andy says, I am the literal incarnation of Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm that blunt, okay? So if I don't like you, you're going to know about it. You're going to know about it. Now, I am getting better at it as I'm getting older, of course. Yeah. But it's still blunt. And if I don't like you, still pretty much know. So, yeah, trying to be civil in an interview with Omid Scobie would take every amount of my considerable strength, which I don't think I'd even be bothered to do. I don't think I could be bothered to do. So, no. And even, do you know what? Even if I had the strength to be able to do it and I invited him, he would either ghost me or he would respectfully decline. I don't think he'd have the balls to do it with me in any way in the first place. Expect to be like, I wouldn't pollute your channel. Well, there we go. That's one way of putting it. That's definitely one way of putting it. Absolutely. Summer Savage says the translators should sue Liebrows to the teeth. The trauma they received alone is worth plenty of money. I would say so, yeah. I would say so. Denai says, if we get to 1,000 likes, will you play the Lady C track? Wow. Let's tee it up, shall we? Let's do it. For those that don't know, we are in collaboration with DJ Lewis Love. You may know him more as Nerd Report. My big bro Lewis and I, we collaborated with Brandon Torres with his editing skills on a Lady C track. So let me bring that up. Because, yeah, guys, we have hit a double monkey. We have got over 1,000 likes right now. 1,009 likes. We've just hit a double monkey. So whilst I'm setting up the Lady C track, and if you've not heard it, stay tuned. This is going to be fun. Let's celebrate again, because we've just achieved a double monkey. All right, guys. So here we go. This is it. It's the exclusive. So let's go here. Click on it. Oh, ads first.
Hello, I'm gonna go on Monarchy.
Okay, let's skip that.
Let's
start that again. All right. In 3, 2, 1.
We're supposed to believe every word that comes out of her filthy mouth. Her mouth is dirtier than your or my anus. I anus, 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 I anus. Megan, you think I'm being unfair? Sue me. You know where I live?
Let's see how the way we work. And this is just like beyond. The bombs are landing all over Meg's dick. She can't win an eye. She can't win an eye. Can't be destroyed. I'm telling you.
I think, 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 I think. Not everybody's afraid of you, you frowsy piece of something or the other. You make an amoeba seem like an elevated form of life.
So again, big massive shout out to DJ Lewis Love. You will know him better as Nerd Report, my big brother Lewis Lecker, and also for the editing skills, Brandon Torres. I salute you. Thank you so much for that. Did you guys like that? It's on my channel. You can find it right now and play it to your heart's content. Lewis might actually be working on an extended version of that track. Stay tuned. Sergeant George Harrison, though, thank you so much for the $2 sugar bucks. Saying, got to go, Steph. See you tomorrow. Love to you all. Well, thank you so much, Sergeant. Really appreciate you send. Love to you and all. See you tomorrow, lass. See you tomorrow. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Canberra's Brat, thank you so much for the $5 sugar bucks. Saying, I wouldn't have the reserve to be civil to Omid. And I'll be absolute, I'll keep it 100. I don't think I do either. That's why I won't invite him. It's as simple as that. Oh my goodness. People are liking the track. People are definitely liking the track. There we go. Something a little bit different on the channel, but very, very funny, I thought. Sergeant thought so as well. Laughing her backside off. There we are. You get to watch that on your big screen TV as well, Sarge. Good for you. Good for you, lass. Lulu's mum be like, Lady C, yeah. And Sue Boo be like, Lady C, LOL, oh yeah. Hey, there we go. DJ Lewis Love, aka, as you will know him as, Nerd Report, being like, let's go. Yeah, let's go indeed. He sent it to me, on, I think it was like Telegram, and I heard it. I was like, I have to hear this like a zillion more times, because I just like jaw dropped to the floor, laughing my ass off. I was like, dude, this is genius. And then I was like, yeah, Brandon, because I know Brandon's really, really good with editing, putting together a video. I'm like, here's a track, do your magic. And he did. Like, the visuals and the music to it is absolutely insane. So really, really proud of what we came up with there. Scotty McBoogbull says, careful, Step, don't rip any stitches. Yeah, that's why I was like this. I wasn't too overexcited as I usually do, because, yeah, I've still got stitches in my lower back. And so, yeah, hopefully I can get rid of them on Wednesday, because, oh my goodness, where the stitches are, I won't get too graphic, but where the stitches are, it gets a little bit itchy sometimes, because where the stitches are, they kind of like sometimes dig into my skin. It's a thing. It gets itchy at times. It's annoying the shit out of me. I can't wait for them to go. I just want them to go at this point. I've had stitches before. I've had more scarier, bigger operations than the one that I had last week. Don't get me wrong. And when I've had stitches, I've been fine. Like, no issue whatsoever. However, this time, the operation's fine. Again, didn't scare me. It was a walk in the park for someone like me. But where the stitches are, sometimes they itch the hell out of me, and it gets annoying. And so I can't wait for them to go. And for me not to worry about how I'm sitting anymore. That would be great. I'm literally going into taxis at the moment, and I'm like, do you mind if I don't put my seatbelt on? Because the way I've got to sit, because of an operation I've had on my back. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, there'll be a point where I don't have to say that to the taxi drivers, and I'll be very, very happy with that. And if anything, I'll be even more happier when I can get back on my bike. Absolutely. Margaret Morris says, love Lady C's rap. I love it too. Wendy Marino says, great editing. Yeah. Brandon is a genius with that. I couldn't have come up with it, that's for sure. Liberty Dawn says, that was fun. So much fun, right, guys? So much fun. Nerd Report. So bad. I know. And he was like, you know, it's not the best that I've done in the past, but, you know, I'm getting back into it. I'm like, dude, it's freaking awesome. It's a banging tune. I'm like, let's go. I definitely want the extended version. Definitely want to hear that. Oh, Jackie Swan, talented R. Lewis, isn't it? Absolutely. Deb would be like, she'll be on the top 40 number one. Now, that would be funny if that actually happened. Oh, absolutely. Let's see. Kate Sinclair says, well done, Lewis. We love it. There you go, guys. Aussie Roof says, Plastic Ken doll appears to be living up to his liar reputation. I expected this. Well done, Steph. Well, thank you. Appreciate it very, very much. Lewis says, I'm happy people liked the track. Oh, yeah. I think it's like, on Twitter, it's about, like 37,000 views on Twitter at the moment. And on here, it's at just over 9,300 views on YouTube. So there's 9,300 views on YouTube. It's over 37,000 views on Twitter. Like, let's get this viral, guys. I think this one deserves to go viral, don't you? So there we go. Summer Savage says, Nerd Report, you killed it, dude. Totally killed it. Let's see. Sigmar's Hammer says, have you had your hair done again, Steph? Not exactly. So for those that have just tuned in, last week I darkened my hair colour so that as it grows out, it's not as noticeable in terms of my roots. And whilst I'm in recovery with my stitches, this is going to sound so bougie, but here we go. The doctor turned around and said that I can't get any soap in anywhere near the surgery site whilst I've got stitches in because it will hurt and sting like a motherfucker and cause problems. So he said I can have a bath, but it has to be without any bubble bath or anything like that. And any soap that I use has to be unscented. So I actually literally bought like new soap for this period of time that's unscented and everything. And so that comes to, well, how do I wash my hair? Because I can't bend over because that's going to put pressure on my back and the surgery site. So I can't bend over in the sink or in the bath to wash my hair. I can't do it in the shower because, again, as the soap's coming down my back, that's going to go to the surgery site. Again, I can't bend over whilst I'm in the shower or in the bath because same problem. That's going to stretch the surgery site and cause issues. And even if I have a full-on bath, I can't wash my hair there because the soap then will get into the bath water and that'll affect the surgery site as well. So the only option I've got at the moment is to go to the hairdressers for them to literally just wash my hair and blow dry it. Yeah, I know. It sounds bougie as hell. Even I will admit that. However, it's for a good cause. Therefore, I went to the hairdressers today and I got my hair done. So yeah, I went to the hairdressers as well. I think it was like Wednesday to get my hair done. Done it again today. I've got another appointment with them on Tuesday, so the day before, hopefully my stitches come out. And then I've got another appointment with the hairdressers on Friday morning, only because hopefully I'll be flying to Italy. So at least then my hair's going to be done and it's going to be better at its top condition for when I go to Italy and for the family celebration. So there we go. So yeah, have I had my hair done? Yeah, but kind of ish. So there we go. Elaine says, oh, Steph, forgot to add the green cherry tea. That's not bad either if you like the green teas. Ooh, okay. From Dragon's Treasure, fair enough. We will be restarting the Tea Party with Steph series next year, so do stay tuned for that. What else you guys are saying? Oh, Matthew, thank you for that kind compliment. Really appreciate your face. I actually saw a few comments earlier on and you guys were commenting about my lipstick. So the lipstick's from Pat McGrath and I can't remember the colour name, but apparently it's the same lipstick and the same colour that Taylor Swift uses. And I'm like, all right, I'll have some of that. Why not? Why not? So I might actually now be wearing the same colour and lipstick that Taylor Swift uses. There we go. I'm not a big Swiftie, don't get me wrong, but I like the notion that, you know, I have the same colour now as Taylor Swift. Why the hell not? There we are. And I am actually in love with this lipstick at the moment. It's matte, but it's one of those that doesn't dry my lips out. And I've never experienced a formula like this before. I absolutely love it. So I'm actually tempted to get even more colours. If I do go to the airport on Friday, I know there'll be a Pat McGrath kind of section in duty free. I might go a little ham. I say might. Probably. Probably. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Chris Russell says, Omid Scobie, eyebrows, licks spittle himself, should make a public apology to the royal family. Catherine can be seen doing a double take and giving her midwife a hug. A lovely moment, intimate friends. Obviously, she wasn't Caucasian, put it that way. Exactly. There was something missing in that opinion piece. And that was a freaking apology. He is so quick, as far as I'm concerned, to blame everyone else. The only person he's got to blame in terms of this whole debacle is himself. He's the one that wrote the names in. No one else. It's as simple as that. If he didn't write the names in any of the editions, in any of the drafts, this wouldn't have happened. If what he said at the beginning actually happened, i.e., I've never written the names in any version of Endgame, then this wouldn't have happened in the first place. But he did, and it happened. It's as simple as that. The book stops with him. He's got to apologise, and he hasn't done. And that's absolutely disrespectful, not only to the royal family, but the British public as well. Omid Scobie needs to apologise. And he needs to apologise like freaking yesterday. Princess of Archetype says, I like the darker colour on you, Steph. It brings out your dark eyes. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I have been for a long time on the whole kind of clear lip oil gloss kind of train. But now that it's winter, yeah, I'm getting back into like the more opaque, darker colours. So, yeah. Hi. Tears and Tina says, the darker colour really brings out your light skin tone. No, that is not a racist remark. No, I know it's not. It's fine. It's fine. My skin's like olive toned, a little bit olive toned anyway because of the Italian that's in me. For those that don't know, I'm dual nationality. I'm English and I'm Italian. Majority of my family are in Italy. That's why hopefully I can go next week for the family celebration. There we go. So I say, Steph, too bad the doctors didn't put the surgical tape on that area. It's so strong it won't come off and no water can seep in the area. So where it is, it would have hurt. Where the surgery site is, it's in a really, really awkward area, okay? And there has to be an amount of movement still for me to be able to sit down, to lie down, to do things. The tape is so strong, you're right, that that movement, it wouldn't be there. It's strange, and I don't want to go into too much more detail, but it just wouldn't have worked, unfortunately. I wish that could have been the case, but it wouldn't have worked. Joanne Miranda says, I thought you were rocking a Taylor Swift vibe. Yeah. Again, I'm not a big Swiftie, don't get me wrong, but I like a little bit of her music. I'll admit that. As I've kind of like converted Andy to, reality when it comes to Megsy and Hazza, he's converted me to reality when it comes to Taylor Swift a little bit. I'll admit that. But yeah, Tammy, Omid needs to apologise big time. Absolutely. Tracy says he won't admit fault. He would end up losing any lawsuit if he did. He won't take responsibility. The thing is, I hope the translators sue. I hope the Dutch publisher sues. And even if he doesn't apologise publicly, ultimately, I think they still have a case to win. Just as easy to win, I think. see what else you guys are saying. Spectre says, according to a friend, Yorkshire folk are not English, LOL. Spectre, I need to have a word with your friend. And I'll be bringing with me a hammer, an axe, maybe a brick as well to knock some sense into him. Or her. Or them. However they identify. Your friend needs some words. Yeah. We're English. And we have the best county in England. We're the biggest county in England as well. Booyah. We are the best county in England. In England, it's called God's Own County. Booyah. And the Shire from Lord of the Rings is actually based on Yorkshire. Yep. We're freaking awesome. We are English. We're just Yorkshire as well. And we've got our own dialect. And it's cool. We've got our own language. It's awesome, you know? You think A-up is the only Yorkshire thing around? Oh, no. There's more Yorkshire shiz I could be saying. But I don't, because I know it would kind of confuse a lot of you in terms of what does that mean, what does that mean, what does that mean. So I just keep it to the minimum of the A-up, and that's it. Simple is all right. I'm okay with A-up travelling the world and everyone knowing a little bit of Yorkshire lingo with just the A-up. Simple, easy to remember, done and dusted, right? So there we go. I'll export Yorkshire to the world a little bit with the A-up. There you are. A lot of you have actually messaged me saying that you do use it now. You find that you're using it more and more in your everyday life. I'm like, yeah, boy, that'll do. See what else you guys are saying. Manning says, wonder if Omid Scobie is hiding in one of the Harkles' 1,000-room mansion. It's a good question. And whilst I'm looking at more of what you're writing in the live chat, let's see who else has been spanking the subscribe button. So at the last check, we were at 83,458 alter nerds in the community. Let's see where we're at now. Woo! Yes! 83,460. Guys, we are just 40 new alter nerds away from 83,500 alter nerds in the community. So guys, if you haven't spanked that subscribe button already, get it done, because then in the live streams you can chat with me. So yeah, the only way you can do that, spank the subscribe button. Let's go. See what else you guys are saying. Oh, Jess 2003, just in here. So sorry for being late in Melbourne at the moment. Hey, don't apologise. Thank you so much for dropping by. The very least, that's very, 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 very kind of you. There's like a stray hair going in my eye. It's just annoying me. Okay, we're back. We're back to normal scheduling programming. There you go. Margaret McClellan says, Stef, isn't it God's own country? Ain't that what I said? Could have just been me accent, but yeah. There you go. Shaz says North, South, East or West Yorkshire, LOL. Lived in North Yorkshire, and yeah, the twang is totally different. Yep. And yep. Robin says, wasn't there a Yorkshire Ripper in the 70s and 80s? Yep. Peter Sutcliffe. Google him if you dare. Harry Lowe says, I like Yorkshire pudding. Me too. Can't make it from scratch. Not a freaking chance. But I can get some Aunt Bessie's from supermarket and I can cook them. So there we are. Brandon says, is Sheffield part of Yorkshire? One of my favourite bands is from there. Yeah. Sheffield is part of Yorkshire. That's South Yorkshire. Which band? Which band are you talking about there? Let me know. Jazz 2003. Thank you so much for the $3.99 sugar bucks and the Ginger Doggy Fighting Arts moment. Really, really appreciate your face. Thank you. What else are you guys saying? Let's have a gander. Wendy says, I need to Google Yorkshire pudding. It's probably not what you're thinking in your head. Be prepared. Just be prepared. Okay, guys. So, at this point, I'm going to wind down today's stream. Again, I'm not going for as long as I usually do because of my stitches, the surgery site. I need to be careful with that. But guys, if you have any last minute super chat stickers, member only chats, send them in now before I go. And if you haven't done so already, spank the like button and the subscribe button. They're the only spankings that, guys, I absolutely encourage you to do to me. They're the kind of spankings I like from this community. So get to spanking, and let's see how many more likes and how many more subscribes we can get before the end of today's show, guys. Which, by the way, don't you worry, tomorrow, Daily Nerd Live, Sunday edition, will be at 10 o'clock UK time. Oh, I got some more Hazza Megsy Eyebrows Lick Spittle Omid Scobie news to be giving you. So stay tuned for more fun tomorrow, 10 o'clock UK time. Let's see. Oh my goodness, Robin, thank you so much for the $2 sugar box and the ginger doggy farting arts moment. Really, really appreciate your face. My goodness. Sleepy Fox has a theory. Maybe Omid didn't write a word of Endgame. Possibly M wrote it and he just published it in his name thinking it was a good idea. So it still boils down to he is getting just what he deserves. I don't believe that opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, Sleepy Fox. No, I don't. Do I believe that she had a part in it? Yes. Do I believe she wrote it? No. Lizzie B. Hey up, Lizzie B. I just Googled it. Yorkshire pudding. I thought it was like a cream or oatmeal type like food. Like I said, it's not what's probably in your head what you think a Yorkshire pud is. No. It really isn't. We really know why it's really called the Yorkshire pudding, in all honesty. There's not really much pudding about it, but there you go. There you go. Google it and you'll find out what I mean by that. Okay, guys. Right. I think at this point, I'm going to bugger off. There we go, guys. So, with that being said, first and foremost, I want to thank absolutely everyone that tuned in to the live stream. Really, really appreciate your face. And everyone that's watching on the replay, I appreciate your faces as well. Thank you to everyone that spanked the like button. As of the end of this stream, we got 1,133 likes that were spanked during this stream. So I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much as well for those that took part in today's streaming wars or spanked the join button themselves. We got to 20 new leaders for today's stream. So thank you so much for that. And oh my goodness, for those that spanked the subscribe button, thank you so much. We are now at 83,461 alter nerds in the community as of the end of this stream. So I really appreciate everyone that spanked the subscribe button if they could. Thank you to everyone as well that took part in the live chat. It's been so much fun chatting with you guys as always. Remember, tomorrow, 10 o'clock UK time, which is 5 o'clock Eastern, there will be another Daily Nerd Live Sunday edition. So I hope to see you all guys then. With that being said, if you haven't done so already, on your way out, definitely make sure you spank that subscribe button. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatevers, and help this community get to 100k so we can get that silver play button right there and hopefully cause a Christopher Boozy meltdown on Twitter. Because Christopher Boozy will probably be like, how dare that one in the middle get 100,000 subscribers and be rewarded by YouTube with a silver play button when she spouts all this hatred against Megsy and Hazza. Wah! Yeah, I would want to see that meltdown if possible. So the sooner we get to 100k subscribers and we get that silver play button right there, the sooner we get to the possibility that Boozy has a meltdown on Twitter. and then I'll monetize that moron and report on it on this channel. The circle of life, baby, the circle of life, guys. Also, as well, if you guys have some very, very strong opinions about what we've discussed today, in particular Mr. Lickspittle Liebrows himself, Omid Scobie, and I bet you do, then on the replay, make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. We can have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And until the next time, you guys, laters. Bye.